You might not want to be alone when you hear this, and if someone who loved you ever warned you away from something, not with rules, but with their eyes, with the specific weight of their silence, then you already know what kind of story this is. Stay close. This one doesn't leave. My mother had a rule about the door at the end of the hallway. Not a rule like don't run inside or finish your plate. This was different. This was the kind of rule she delivered in a low voice, crouching to my level, her hand wrapped around my wrist just tight enough that I could feel her pulse. Fast. Too fast. Against my skin. You never open that door, she told me when I was 7. Not ever. Not for any reason. Do you understand me? I told her I did. She held my gaze 1 second longer than necessary. Then she stood, smoothed her shirt, and went to make dinner like nothing had happened. I didn't understand at all. The door was the last one on the right, past the bathroom, past the linen closet, set into the corner like it was trying to go unnoticed. It had a brass knob that was always cold, colder than anything else in the house, even in deep summer. Even when the rest of the hallway felt close and warm. No padlock, no visible lock at all. Just that knob and the rule and the way my mother's jaw tightened whenever I so much as glanced toward that end of the hall. She always knew when I got too close. I don't know how. I'd be heading to the bathroom at 2 in the morning, barely awake, and I'd slow near that corner, just for a second. Just from habit, and by breakfast, she'd be watching me from across the table with an expression I couldn't name then. I can name it now. It was the face of someone monitoring damage, checking how far something had already spread. She never explained. I learned not to ask. There were other things I learned not to ask about. Why certain mirrors in the house were hung slightly too high, so you couldn't see your full reflection without stepping back. Why she hummed continuously while cooking. Not songs exactly, just sound, constant and low. Like she was trying to fill every cubic inch of silence before something else could. Why, when I was 9, I woke up at 3 in the morning and stood at my bedroom door for reasons I still can't explain, and saw her sitting cross-legged in the hallway outside the forbidden door, completely still, facing it, her head bowed like she was either praying or listening. I watched her for a long time. She never moved. I went back to bed and told myself I'd dreamed it. When I was 12, I pressed my ear against the door. I don't know what I expected. Wind. Maybe, or voices, something movie-like and obvious. What I heard was nothing, but a nothing that pushed back, thick and directional, like silence that knew I was there and was deciding something about me. I stood for maybe 30 seconds. That's when I felt my mother's hand on my shoulder, and when I turned, her face was close to mine and her eyes were wet. She didn't say a word. She made cocoa. She asked about school. I let her, because the expression she'd been wearing when I turned around wasn't anger. It was the specific grief of someone watching a thing they feared come true on a schedule they'd always known. I left for college and tried to forget the door existed, mostly at work, a new city, new people, an apartment that was mine, cluttered and imperfect and mine. My mother and I called each other twice a week. She sounded like herself. She sounded, if anything, more relaxed than I ever remembered. I thought distance was helping us both. She died on a Tuesday in November. Cardiac arrest. Fast. The paramedics said she wouldn't have suffered. I kept waiting for the comfort in that word, fast, but it never arrived. I drove back to the house, and when I pulled onto the street and saw the pale yellow siding, I felt something that wasn't grief, something pre-grief, older and more animal. The feeling you get when a part of your brain registers danger before the rest of you has caught up. I slept in my old room that first night. The house made its ordinary sounds. Settling wood, the refrigerator, distant traffic. I told myself that was all it was. I woke at 3 in the morning for no reason I could name, and lay still in the dark, listening, and almost convinced myself there was nothing to hear. Almost. On the second morning I found the key. Small, old oval bow at the top. No label. It was paper-clipped to the inside of a card I almost threw away without opening. I held it for a long time. I want to tell you I deliberated for days, that I honored her warning, that I put it down and walked away, but I think you already know I didn't. I think that's why you're still here. The knob was cold. The key fit. The door opened without resistance, without sound, with the easy swing of something that had never actually been locked, only kept closed by the specific weight of her presence in the house. The room was small, bare mattress on an iron frame, one wooden chair, a single window with the blinds down, and photographs, dozens, maybe hundreds, layered across every wall in dense, overlapping rows, black and white, color, Polaroids, printed pages, all of them me, but not birthday parties or school events. Surveillance, me crossing a street near my college apartment, me through the window of a place I'd stopped visiting years ago, me asleep in my own bedroom, face angled toward a window I kept locked. I stepped closer, and that's when the detail hit me, the one I can't explain away, the one that still wakes me up at night reaching for my phone to look at my own hands. In the older photographs, the ones from my childhood, my shadow fell the way shadows fall, normal, grounded. But in the more recent ones, the ones from the last 5 or 6 years, my shadow in the background of the image was facing the wrong direction. Not dramatically wrong, just slightly, maybe 20 degrees off from where the light source should have placed it. Like something standing just behind me had a shadow of its own, and it had slowly, over years, learned to blend it with mine. My hands started shaking. On the chair seat was a folded piece of paper, her handwriting, small and even. "If you found this, I'm gone. I'm so sorry. It follows people it takes interest in, has since before you were born. As long as it was occupied watching you through me, watching you through this room, it stayed here. I gave it something to look at. That was the arrangement. I don't know who made it before me or how far back it goes. It has always been close to you. I kept it focused here so it would forget to look outward. Leave the house now. Whatever you hear that sounds like my voice, keep walking. Don't look for it. It knows you know." I stood in that room while the light through the blinds went gray, then dark, long enough that the silence began to move inside itself, to develop texture. And then, from somewhere in the house behind me, unhurried, deliberate, knowing exactly where the floorboards didn't creak, footsteps. I didn't turn around. I walked down the hallway, down the stairs, out the front door, into my car. I drove for 4 hours without stopping, and I am telling you, I did not look in the rearview mirror. Not once. That is the only part of this I'm still proud of. But here is the thing I go back to. The thing I haven't been able to put down. I've been checking photographs. Every picture I appear in, I look at the edges first, then the shadows. The shadow detail is there in old ones I never would have examined before. Family photos, school pictures, a birthday at my grandmother's house. All of them have it. The slight wrongness, the extra degree, all of them. Going back as far as photographs of me exist, except one, a single photo, the earliest one I have, taken in the hospital the day I was born. I'm in my mother's arms. She's exhausted, luminous, looking down at me with an expression I've spent a long time staring at. In that picture, for the only time across decades of images, my shadow falls exactly right. Which means whatever it is, whatever has been standing just behind me in every photograph since, it wasn't there at the beginning. It arrived later. It found me. And I keep coming back to the arithmetic of that. My mother discovered it somehow, made some arrangement, kept it contained in that room for my entire conscious life. She died. The room is empty now. The arrangement ended, which means it's looking for somewhere new to focus. I checked mine last night, just for a second, but it moved after I did. I want to be honest with you about the part that frightens me most. Not the photographs, not the footsteps, not even the shadow. It's that you've been reading this for several minutes now, and something about this story reached you, made you stay, made you lean in, and I keep thinking about my mother's room, about what she said she gave it, something to look at. Check your own shadow before you go to sleep tonight, just to be sure it's only yours.